Let's go. Let's come in. So we're doing INTUFLOW, right? We're doing INTUFLOW. And what are we doing with INTUFLOW? What does that mean? Intuitive flow. We're connecting our brain to all the different parts of the body, all of our ligaments, all of our tendons, everything, okay? And so we're going to start, just like a baby's formed inside the womb, from the neck to the spine down all the way to the arms. So again, we're going to start with the neck first. You can start with the jaw as well. Sometimes we do that in class. But just to kind of be efficient with time, we're going to start with the neck. I'm going to have you guys pull the crown up to the sky, okay? Like really creating space in that neck. And then we're going to push it forward. Really like pull it apart, right? And you can play with your breath too. You can breathe in, kind of help with that like connection, the neural drive. And then you can breathe out. If you have a hard time connecting to it, good. And what are you doing, right? We always want to think, what are we doing? We're creating space. We're creating space in those discs. We're creating, everything's always compressed, right? Let's open it up. And so we're giving feedback to the brain of where our body parts are in space, and when that happens with that, things start to relax, right? It gets more connected, okay? Now, we're going to go side to side, right? Everything's always simple, compound, complex, so we're going to start with the simple exercises first, side to side, okay? Packing the shoulders down, we have 7 key components of structure in TACFIT, right? So always keeping that in mind. I know it's a lot of information if you don't really do TACFIT, but step by step you start to learn, and that's the idea, okay? Okay, and then we're going to connect those two things, right? So we're going to go side, side, right? Front, side, back in one direction. And then be aware of your head. Are you able to, or do you have to tilt it? Just be aware. Are you able to connect to those body parts? And you're like, oh man, I'm kind of disconnected there. And then that's something you can work on, okay? And then we're going to change directions, the other direction. Good. And so there's a lot of people teach things different way, right? But I think it's important to know the concept why you're doing things, right? Because when you know why you're doing things, you're like, oh, okay, you understand why. So it doesn't, you don't get caught up in all the little details of, is he doing it right or is he doing it wrong, okay? All right, let's go to the thoracic spine. We're gonna breathe in. We're gonna always help our breath, use our breath to do our movements better, to connect more with our body, right? Okay, so we're gonna breathe in. You can even open up your hands once you got it, okay? And we're gonna breathe out. And so, right, we're trying to move that thoracic spine, opening it up and breathing out. Breathe in, breathe out. Let me see a few of the guys, you can open up your hands more to maybe open up more, right? We're always compressing ourselves. We're always, when you're sitting down, when we're doing jiu-jitsu, we're always like in that flexion. So we want to open ourselves up, right? Moving those spines. And man, it's not about you go to the doctor and your disc, you're this, you're that. It's compressed. Let's open everything up. And it's building the habit, right? That's why I love like the concept TACFIT gyms. That's why I'm so passionate about it, because man, you need a place, you need a community to come to where we're doing the same things, we're speaking the same language, Okay? All right, good. Let's do that steering wheel like said Jeff doing it. And that was great, right? So what are we doing, right? We want to move. So let's drive that bus. So let's make here. We're gonna make that big wheel. Turn it. Or we can put the hands together. You can video game. Good. Drive that big bus. Good. Okay. Now, let's go side to side. Let's go side to side, right? Moving, again, keeping that, we're focusing on the different body parts. Moving that thoracic spine, side to side, boom, boom. Squeezing the butt, because we don't want everything to move. We want to really focus on that area, right? So side to side, boom, 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 boom. And man, like 5 to 6 times, 8 times, whatever, right? Like if you need more, sometimes you need more if it's like really stiff, right? So just be aware of that, what you need, and then that's what you do. Okay, there's no exact rule. Maybe I need 10, so be aware of what you need. Intuitive flow, be aware of your body, what your body needs. So now we're gonna connect those two things. I'm side, back, side, front. So you can bring your hands in if you want, okay? Okay, side, back, and you can use your breath to help you connect with your body, okay? So breathe out maybe, breathe in, right? And be aware, are you able to control your thoracic spine? A lot of my jiu-jitsu brothers, like, we're stiff, man. We're stiff, and that's something to be aware of, because we're always pulling. It's all those body parts. We need to open things up. And man, our lifestyle, we're always sitting down too much. Even guys that are active, we're sitting down too much. It's just the life that we live now, right? Breathe in, breathe out. So we're gonna go in one direction, and then we're gonna change direction. Boom. Okay? Breathe in, breathe out. Okay, so going from the spine, and we're gonna go out, right? Just like when the baby's formed inside the womb, okay? So let's go to the lumbar, right? So we're gonna, same thing, we're gonna use our breath. So maybe breathe out, push the tailbone back, push it forward. And man, like in a lot of my students, big, strong guys, they're like, oh my God, my lower back is killing me. They go to the doctor, oh man, you gotta get low back surgery. I'm like, no, dude, do this movement. Even while you're sitting down, do this movement. Try it, do it for a few days, or do it for the week, and like, oh, my lower back doesn't hurt anymore. I don't have to get surgery. Multiple times, like, man, it's crazy. So man, move your stuff, and guess what? Your brain's gonna connect to that body, because it's just a signal to your brain of like, hey, you need to move it, you need to do something else, right? Use your breath, okay? And then with the different, let's add some little complexity. You can kind of scoot your hip out like the Instagram model, scoot your hip out to the side, okay? Boom. And pushing it out, okay? Good, 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 okay? And then let's connect those two things, right? Like pushing our butt, if there's a glass, and you can see it, and we're gonna draw like little squares. Back, cross, right? And really getting that full range of motion of those hips and being aware, like visualizing, okay, I'm moving my lumbar in space. If you ever do any guided meditation or any of those things, you're visualizing in your brain where, imagine your nose in space, imagine your neck in space. Okay, man, that's what you're doing. You're applying, you're actually doing it. Okay, one direction, and then the other direction. And you're moving the synovial fluid, you're moving like the grout substance, and you're connecting your brain, you're changing all the liquids, right, while you're doing this. And you're connecting your brain to those areas, and guess what's gonna happen? That residual tension that maybe you had, it's gonna dissipate because you're more sure of where you are in space. You're cleaning your GPS of your brain of where your body is in space, right? Does that make sense? Okay, boom, change directions. Okay, cool. All right, so we did our spine. Let's go to our arms, okay? And so, Coach Nestor, the shoulder screws, okay? So we're gonna reach out, okay? We're gonna reach out. We're gonna create space in the body, right? That's what we're trying to do, creating space. And we're gonna turn that thumb over, upside down, okay? And again, we're gonna use our breath to connect to our body better. Boom, okay? Reach, turn that thumb upside down. Great job, guys. Good. Reach, turn that thumb upside down. Good. Breathe out. And you can play around with your breath a little bit. We have, man, everything is so precise. If you start to like study like some neuroscience and these things, like how much thought has been put into every single piece of TACFIT is crazy.
Use the whole body, bending both knees, so you keep your spine straight, and then you focus on your shoulders here.
Okay, so we call these shoulder screws, right? We have like little names, okay? And we used to, Scott called it shoulder screws. Next, like these hitchhikers, right? So like we're hitchhiking, okay? And again, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? We're moving our elbows, right? We want to move our elbow joint in space, right? So we want that full range of motion. And we have 3 satellite systems in our body, like in our, of where we are in space. Our eyes, which is huge, right? So if you close your eyes, it's going to be a little different. And then also, like so, or if you do INTUFLOW, if you do these elbow joints behind your back, you can't see your arms. So it's going to be a little different. And our vestibular system, the reason I'm saying it's important to know that this change directions is how our head moves in space. So it's like in your ear. We have like 3 little canals. And when our head goes this way, there's like some jelly, that's like, looks like Jello, some rocks on the top, and the rocks go to the side. And we have a little nerve inside that Jello, and it gives feedback to our brain where we are, how our head is moving in space. Okay, good. Good. All right. Let's do, you can do the wrist, you know, but again, it's up and down, side to side, but let's do the Vandalay Silva for my jiu-jitsu people, my pride. Like moving our wrists in space. I like this a lot too sometimes just because it's a little bit easier. So it's like close chain. We do open chain and closed chain where we're connected in one direction. And then change directions. But it's moving our joints in space. So our brain is kind of sure where it is. It's more sure. And because of that, it releases, you know, it releases the tension and our mobility actually improves, right? Okay, let's move our hands. Let's move our hands. Open up the hands. Yeah. Hold that snow cone and upside down okay sign. Boom. Yeah. And guess what? Maybe you have a hard time connecting to certain spots. Play with your breath. Instead of breathing out, there's no one rule. Everybody's nervous system is different. So it's more important to know what you need, you know? Of course, there's certain rules like 7 key components, like that's the law, you know? But there's a lot of different things there's a lot of right ways to do things, you know? Okay, cool. All right. So let's go to the lower extremities. So let's go to the legs. And let's put our heels against our heels. And we're going to step over like a little fence. And we're going to move that ball in socket, okay? Good. 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 Okay. And let's do the other leg. Okay. Heel to heel, toes to toes. And you know, we do it in our classes. You know, we kind of do like kind of similar technique, the thing. Of course, we can switch it up a little bit. There's a great program that we have on tacfit.com called Primal Stress, and there's a lot of closed chain things. So we use the ground to kind of move all of our joints. And there's many, many different ways that we can move our joints, right? But this is the way. And I think it's a great way, okay? Now, let's move our knees. We're just gonna use the ground, and I'm gonna have, again, we're moving our knees in space, right? So let's focus on our pinky toe, our big toe, and our heel of where to shift our weight, okay? So boom, we're moving our knees in space, one direction, okay? And change directions. I'm going to spend, if it's okay, real quick after this, just a couple thoughts on the knees, because the knees and the elbows take the most damage, you know? Actually, let me talk about both. Change directions. Okay, cool. And then let's do our ankles, draw a little squares in space. Another ankle. Bounce is so good. Okay. Okay. Let's grab the ground real quick. And I'm going to go a little bit deeper on the elbow. So we did those hitchhikers for our open chain. And any of you guys who do my jiu-jitsu, my new class, you guys know I always do this, you know? So it's like a close chain to do the elbows. And I think it's important to get the elbows and the knees because I think those take the most damage in jiu-jitsu and to keep those healthy, right? So we're going to rotate those elbow pits in and out, you know? And why are we rotating the elbow pit, right, in, you know? We lose that range of motion. Why? Because of the gripping. We grip, and we overuse it. We have like a tight compass. We'll overuse stuff, and then we forget, like that motor amnesia. We forget how to move that. And like when I started doing the club, it took me like 6 months to block out my elbows, you know? So we're gonna connect our brain to those areas. And I see Glenn, right? You have a hard time connecting, right? Okay, he's a veteran. Elbows in like that, and then guess what? I draw little circles in the space. And I'm just going to use Glenn. Do you mind coming up here? I want you to come. Sorry, man. Got to make an example. I was there, man. I was there, and I think it's really important to kind of understand these things. Okay, we change direction. So check it out, guys. Okay. Okay, so look at Glenn. Try to rotate your elbows in and out. Okay, and you guys see that restriction of him being able to rotate the elbows in? Same thing with the club bell, with all the tools that we do. Okay, and so like, guess what? What you want? Does he want to go into pain if it hurts to go in that range of motion? Let me ask you guys that. No, right? Why?
You want to go to the edge, don't you?
You want to go right before it hurts, that range of motion that you can, right? But there's a little trick that I learned like from some like Nestor and my mentors, like just switching up your breathing. Like one of my mentors, Galazi, he's like, connect your breath, or Scott, connect your breath with the movement. Breathe out here. But actually, for what I found is actually you can switch up your breathing. So breathe in, brace, and then bring your elbows in, and that helps you connect to those areas, you know, and relax. So instead of breathing out here on that, you kind of switch your breathing up. But of course, staying out of pain, so you go into your range of motion, okay? And then you keep doing it, guess what? You're gonna change all the liquids out and you're gonna get that range of motion back. But you just gotta do it consistently, right? Consistently, okay? All right, so then the legs, right? The knees, sorry, rather, okay? I'm gonna just spend a couple, like a minute on the knees, okay? My go-to knee exercise, okay? We stood up and we did little circles in the air. But my favorite knee is this here. And I can do it while I'm sitting down too. Sometimes I'm on a flight and I look guys, it's three components, right? One, my foot is like this, bend it, just bend it guys, bend it. And like that range of motion is that full extension, right? Okay. And then my leg is straight. Does that make sense, guys? Okay. Okay. And then I open up my hip, right? And then it's like that. And then I'm basically turning, bringing it in, opening it up, drawing a little circle in the air, one direction. Same thing, right? And then changing direction. Okay, let's do the same thing on the other leg. Boom, boom. And it's my go-to. Your knee's swollen, you're inflamed, you have injuries, that's the movement you want to do. You want to stay out of pain. So guess what? If I had just had an injury or, you know, actually my battlefield thing that I do, because of the brains I crisscross, if I hurt my knee or somebody knee barred me or whatever, I sprained my knee, I actually go to the other knee first, you know, and then once this one that I hurt, it relaxes, I just move it. I move it right away, whether it's just this, you know, and then little by little, I get my range of motion back, and I do the whole thing, okay? And maybe you can extend your leg. I couldn't do this for like a lot of years. I wasn't even aware of it, you know? And it wasn't until like I started to go to Barcelona and, you know, Coach Nestor, he laughed at me because I couldn't put my hands on the ground, you know? I'm kidding you, but he did, right? Because he's like, oh, you're supposed to be this jiu-jitsu champion, and I couldn't put my hands on the ground. From all the years, I broke my wrist and just so many injuries, right? From overuse of just gripping, and not using those extension muscles on my forearm, for example. And Coach Nestor is going to be going over a lot of extension exercises next and talking about that, okay? Let's do one.
May I ask a question
yes.
about this particular thing you just did?
Uh-huh.
I really struggle with that
yes.
one. And I feel like it's constricted through my hips. And I'm just wondering if it's just a matter of just kind of carving that out. Or
Right. In your hips, right?
Yeah.
So I did like a dissection like years ago, like a human dissection, going down to the bones and how everything's interconnected. Like a ligament goes all the way from your fingertips all the way to it's crazy, to your neck. Everything's interconnected. So is it your ankle? Is it your knee? Man, it's all one. It's all one. From head to toe, if you look at some of those fascial lines that we have in Revive, we're all one. It's a crisscross going from head to toe. You know what I mean? So you got to move. That's what we do INTUFLOW when we go from head to toe. That's why it's important to move every single thing. Because nothing works in isolation. There's like a quote that I put up on the wall, you know, about how everything is interconnected with everything. So that's why it's important to not just, oh, my elbow hurts, I'm just going to move my elbow around there. No, move everything. And then everything starts to connect. So, you know, the hip and the knee and the elbow, that's like one line, right? So, you know, like that's why we move our hip, we move those areas. But when you're doing this, are you moving your hip? Are you moving your hip?
I mean, to a certain extent, yeah.
Yeah, you're moving that bone in and out. You're moving that ball and socket. You're moving it in and out.
Right.
You know, so you're getting more connected. Okay, let's do one more, guys. In order, one of the favorite because it kind of connects like our vestibular system, how our head moves in space. Because we're going to go down, okay? You can breathe out, breathe in. And we're moving our head up and around. So we're getting stimulation of our head movement around. And it's important for mobility. It's important for our awareness of where we are in space, for our GPS, our internal GPS, right? And guess what? We're going to change directions. Breathe out, breathe in to protect the lower back. And it's important, right? Help with that connection, squeeze the butt. Boom. Okay. Good. I have a question for you guys. If I stand up and I do that knee movement here, is it different than when I'm laying down?
Yes.
Why? Our balance, but because of our vestibular system, right? We're giving different feedback. So if you guys do a stretch in one way, like in one position, it's going to be different if you do the same stretch in another position. So just to be aware of that, right? Because it matters of how you are. For your nervous, when they say nervous system, but it's really your vestibular. And it's not that these satellite systems of our body are separate things. It's how they integrate, how they talk to each other. And if there's a mismatch or disconnect, then we're disconnected. And you get tight, you lose mobility, you know, so yeah. Okay, guys? Good? Good? All right, good.